Today on TQA Weekly, I talk about the Beast attack and what it implies to our online security. My name is Steve Smith, and this is TQA Weekly. If ever you have any technology problems, questions, comments, suggestions, and/or PC horror stories, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com, and use the contact form, or you can always use the comments box on this page if you're either on blip.tv, YouTube, Vimeo, or any of these places, because I will respond to your questions in this show. Now, today's topic is all about the Beast attack and a little bit of history just before that. But before we get into that, this episode of TQA Weekly is brought to you by ProXPN. ProXPN is a virtual private network that allows you to use the internet the way it should be, anonymously and without oversight. For your 20% off your new account, go to proxpn.com/podcast and use the coupon code TQAWEE. For those watching the video, it's right down below in the lower third. So, for the majority of users, pre-2010, we used to log into any website, whether it was secure or not, with our username and password. Didn't care. We used to go into cafes and airport terminals, connect to Wi-Fi hotspots that were not protected with a password. We used to do a lot of crazy stuff on the internet until we met Firesheep. Firesheep came out in 2010. It actually is a proof of concept that shows that anytime you log into a website in a public Wi-Fi situation or Wi-Fi situation when there's no password, and you are on a website that does not use encryption, you're actually vulnerable to a man-in-the-middle attack and of people stealing your information in the first place, since you can just be bounced to a different network. Or, worst of all, people can steal within the same network all of your login credentials, which means anybody could impersonate you on the internet. This forced places like Google and Facebook and Twitter to all upgrade to full SSL encryption, which probably pissed off a lot of developers that were either too cheap or didn't want to upgrade all their systems to a full encryption environment. And for a long time, people were trying to say that it was expensive on memory, and that is bullshit. So, in September of 2011, another type of attack was demonstrated, this time against SSL, that full encryption. More specifically though, TLS 1.0, and this kind of attack is called Beast. Today's topic. Beast is short for browser exploit against SSL and TLS and leverages a weakness in CBC. Yes, cipher block chaining, which is an important part of SSL and TLS protocols and also part of AES encryption for those like me who have already programmed websites that use encrypted databases. The demonstration was achieved using JavaScript. It's like it just keeps getting better, doesn't it? And proved that anybody who contained a website with malicious code subjected users to the possibility of a man-in-the-middle attack. So cross-site scripting makes this possible, which is also next week's topic. This means, like our original problem with Firesheep, we again had a problem with somebody being able to steal our login credentials, and this time didn't even have to be in the same Wi-Fi hotspot or even in proximity of us. This time the hack could be achieved from a lot further away. This has never been shown to be an issue on the internet yet. It may have because of cross-site scripting, but there is no public acknowledgement for this being used on the internet. This was actually a proof of concept by a programmer that actually proved that it was possible to leverage JavaScript in the browser over a secured connection using TLS 1.0 in a cipher using cipher block chaining. So, does this mean that we can't be secure on the internet? even though we know this has never been actively deployed on the internet as an actual issue. It only affects TLS 1.0. Any other newer version of TLS is in fact safer, and companies like SSL Labs allows you to scan website certificates to see if they're vulnerable to the to the Beast attack. And by the way, my website's not, but go ahead. In the show notes, tqaweekly.com/SE3EP48. Scan to your heart's content any website you want, including mine. I get an A and I'm not vulnerable to the Beast attack, so it doesn't bother me whatsoever if you do so. This tool will actually allow you to see if the websites you are visiting are vulnerable to the Beast attack or not. So that's already one tool. Another tool that you might want to actually go and get is NoScript, just in case it was ever deployed on the internet. Because blocking the JavaScript and Java and other stuff will actually prevent you from being vulnerable to this. But you know what else makes you less vulnerable to this? Having a browser that supports better than TLS 1.0. So, browsers that support 1.1 or better. Okay, Google Chrome and Firefox support up to TLS 1.1, which is already better than Opera, and Internet Explorer that out of the box support 1.0 only, but those two can support 1.1 and 1.2 if you are willing to go into browser settings and actually turn them on. However, for those who are probably listening to the show and don't want to mess around in menus until I make an episode on that, Safari 5 or greater supports up to TLS 1.2 out of the box, full HTML5 capable, and a lot safer than most of these other browsers because it blocks a whole lot of other stuff, because that's just the way Apple rolls. So if you want something that has everything on by default that's safer than all the other browsers and you don't have to mess around with it, Safari 5. If you're using Internet Explorer because you're in a business environment, just make sure that they turn on TLS 1.1 and 1.2. If you're the one in control of your computer, you can always use Opera, which just got a brand new update that also supports TLS 1.1 and 1.2. I don't understand why people don't give Opera more love. It's still a beautiful web browser that functions flawlessly. I get more problems trying to balance my code for Firefox than for any other browser anyway. So we all know that technically this means Safari is going to be your best bet against having any issues on the internet, because you don't have to modify anything. But Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox don't need any editing either, and they support TLS 1.1. So basically, those are what you can do. The problem is created also by the fact that most browsers don't operationally use anything but TLS 1.0. For that reason, most websites try to put RC4 at the very top so that if ever you're using TLS 1.0, you at least drop to RC4, which means you're immune to the cipher block chaining bug that has to do with TLS 1.0, since RC4 does not use cipher block chaining in that fashion. To validate a website if it is vulnerable against the Beast attack, just make sure you use the tool from SSL Labs to allow you to scan any website that uses SSL. Don't be scanning for no reason websites that don't have SSL. In the first place, they're not vulnerable to the Beast attack, but they are not encrypted either. And because it more specifically pertains to this episode and the fact of the Beast attack and Firesheep and whatever, I would like to talk about my sponsor of the day, ProXPN. Now more than ever, your online freedom and privacy are under threat. Governments and ISPs want to control what you can or cannot see on the internet while keeping a detailed record of everything you do online. Plus, that free Wi-Fi at the coffee house, airport terminal, or anywhere else is putting you at risk more than you can ever possibly imagine, because your passwords and sensitive data are being intercepted more easily than you might think. Firesheep proved this in 2010, still being actively downloaded, can still affect websites that do not use SSL encryption on them. Plus, we have the fact of the Beast attack, so you actually want to use a tool like this, because ProXPN is a global VPN, virtual private network, that allows you to use any internet connection whatsoever. It creates a secure encrypted tunnel through which all your online data passes back and forth. Any online application can work through ProXPN, including your web browser, email, file sharing, and instant messaging programs. ProXPN keeps everything you do online hidden from prying eyes, disguising your physical location, and giving you unfettered access to any website or online service, no matter where you live or travel to. Complete online privacy with a 2048-bit encryption key, 512-bit encryption tunnel, works with OpenVPN, which is absolutely amazing and absolutely secure, or PPTP, which is supported by all mobile phones. Protect yourself against your ISP's 6 strikes rule, internet filtering and blocked websites, geographical restrictions for internet content, and online video with worldwide servers available in the US, UK, Asia, and more. ProXPN software works with Windows and Mac, offering more advanced controls allowing you to select which programs and ports actually root anonymously through ProXPN's servers. ProXPN is also available for your iOS or Android device, allowing you to use your data plan or public corporate Wi-Fi with complete and total privacy on the go. That requires no app, although you can use the OpenVPN app and connect to them specifically. All you need to do is to go to proxpn.com/podcast for more information and sign up. TQA Weekly watchers and listeners get a free 30-day risk-free trial. Remember to visit proxpn.com/podcast and sign up with the coupon code TQAWEE. ProXPN premium accounts are normally $9.95 a month or $74.95 for the entire year. We've got a special offer for you. Use the coupon code TQAWEE and receive 20% off the entire lifetime of your account, whether you pay per month, per year, or any other way. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and have a great day. Thank you for listening to TQA Weekly. Show your support by liking this episode, subscribe to get our latest episodes as they come out, and share with friends and family who may benefit from such a show as this. You may send us your questions, comments, suggestions, and or stories to ask at tqaweekly.com. For our show notes, links to our Android application, alternate means of subscribing to our show, and information on joining our weekly newsletter, head over to tqaweekly.com. Stay safe and online, and have a great day.